Mr. Amitabh Tiwari in all of this. Mr. Amitabh Tiwari, you've been a man of numbers. What's so different this time around? Because, if you go back to history, and of course it's very, very different, the political landscape, the elections are very different. But even if you look at where the Ram movement was at its peak, when, after the Babri Masjid demolition, the BJP actually did abysmally, even in a state like Uttar Pradesh electorally. What's so different this time around for the Bharatiya Janata Party? Many would say, the mandir was already maximized in 2019.
Actually, the mandir has not been maximized. The only time it has been maximized, perhaps, is in the 1991 UP state election. See, it is largely going to impact the ideologically aligned voters. That's correct. However, since it is one of the long-term pending promises of the BJP, what it is going to do perhaps is to consolidate this vote bank, number one. It could even lead to a higher turnout amongst this vote bank. The party hopes that it has a rub-off effect on the neutral voters. And in the Hindi heartland, where the party did fantastically well last time, there were also apprehensions being raised that the party could actually see some declines. So what this issue does is that it helps party maintain its tally in the Hindi heartland and even probably increase its tally in Uttar Pradesh, where the mandir is being inaugurated and where the party suffered actually losses, a loss of 9 seats in 2019. So all in all, it will help, or it is likely to help the BJP consolidate the Hindutva vote bank and help it retain its 2019 tally of the Hindi heartland. See, if it has won more than 80% of seats in the Hindi heartland, 70 to 80% last time, and if it is able to repeat, because it works on a 80-20 principle, so it has got most of its seats from 20% of the states, which is just 5 to 6 states of India. And there is where the larger play will be for the BJP here.
But Sanjay Singh, the BJP is hoping to come up with a 50%. That's at least the target that they've set themselves, which has really never quite happened, 55% of the vote share this time around. Do you see them getting it at the back of, the mandir inauguration right now, especially when you look at of what has gone down? I've given a few examples even to Mr. Tiwari, where different political landscape, but in those times at least the mandir didn't quite leverage the BJP like it hopes it would this time around.
In fact, in previous elections, particularly the election that you are referring to, post-demolition of Babri Masjid, initially there was anger. And look at the BJP numbers from 1984 or 1985 elections, from 2 to 82 to 120 to 161 and to 182, and now what are the numbers for past 2 elections. UP, of course, they did not win then, but in national elections their number went up. And even when from 2 to 85, remember that was the period when Rajiv Gandhi had that Silanyas done and Shabano case happened. So therefore, that whole argument then was pseudo-secularism and whatnot. Ram Mandir Palampur Adhiveshan resolution was there. Now that anger post that demolition, you are right, that anger that was there against that Babri mosque was gone, and therefore they did not do well in the assembly election, but national elections were different. Now there is a whole lot of different things. There is a celebratory mood across the country. BJP is master in its art of kind of managing an event and the kind of turning that into a month-long event. 22nd, of course, is kind of consecration and inauguration happening for Ram Temple. But beyond that, there is program, special trains, people coming from across the country, so on and so forth. And prior to that, your own channel is showing so many things happening all across. The idea is, if you look at Prime Minister Modi's speech out there that particular day, he did not stop just at kind of what is going to happen in Ayodhya. Of course, there is a social economic transformation happening out there in that particular city. That is a city transformed and so many infrastructure and other economic activities happening there. But he also talked about the schemes, his schemes, Bharatiya schemes, the development that is taking place, the infrastructure, the virasat of it. And therefore, that combination of whole things.
You're saying it's all going to come together perfectly for the Bharatiya Janata Party in 2024. Ashutosh, do you concur with that? Because, Yes, it's the inauguration. Okay, we don't have Ashutosh. We're going to cut across to him in just about a minute, but let's bring in Sanjay Jha. Because Sanjay Jha, somewhere down the line, it ties into a bigger narrative, which is Modi hai to mumkin hai. This is a catharsis moment for the Bharatiya Janata Party. It's been on the manifesto for so many years, so many elections, and now there's final deliverance of that, and that has come under the Prime Minister Modi.
Preeti, good evening. I think I want to make a couple of points. Number one, the BJP always uses emotive subjects in any election campaign. I mean, that is the lesson that the opposition needs to learn. Hindutva is a very emotive subject. That's what was used in 2014 and 19. And you have hyper nationalism, ultra nationalism, which again appeals to the common, sensibilities of any citizen in the country. Obviously, Ram Mandir is going to be a significant electoral play for the BJP, given the fact that we have a large 80% majority population in India. So clearly the BJP will ignore the fact that the Ram Temple's consecration is happening, not because they promised it in a manifesto, but because the Supreme Court heard both the sides in the dispute and came to a unanimous verdict. It's a legal verdict to which they are giving it a political hijack. The second point is equally important. I keep hearing about this La Bharti and, infrastructure. Any government has, and every government has revenues, right? The taxable revenues and some are non-taxable revenues. What do you do with that? You invest it for social welfare, for citizen beneficiaries. And obviously, it is going to result in some scheme or the other. Like the Manrega, the Food Security Act, and the number of schemes that the UPA came up with. Still, they did not win 2014.